You're standing in your kitchen, holding a cup of something warm, when a simple thought slips away. Not something important, not something urgent, just a small detail. A word, a name, a reason you walked into the room in the first place. You pause. It's not panic. It's not fear. Just a quiet moment where something feels slightly out of reach. And then it comes back, a few seconds later than it used to. You brush it off. Of course you do. We all do. But somewhere in that pause, a question begins to form. Not loudly, not all at once. Just a quiet whisper. When did that start happening? And more importantly, is there something small I stopped doing without even realizing it? Because sometimes it's not that your memory is fading. Sometimes it's that something gentle, something repetitive, something almost invisible has quietly slipped out of your daily life. And without it, your mind simply doesn't move the way it used to. Not worse, just differently. If you've ever noticed these small moments, these tiny pauses that seem to come out of nowhere, then this video is for you. And if you care about keeping your mind clear, steady, and present in the years ahead, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because here we don't chase complicated solutions. We simply learn to notice what has always been there. You don't notice it at first. That's the thing about small changes in the mind. They don't arrive with noise. They don't interrupt your day. They just fade in quietly. And one day, you realize something has shifted. Not dramatically, just enough to make you pause. And when you look back, you begin to see a pattern. It was never about effort. It was about repetition. It was about something you used to do, without thinking. Something so small, so natural, that it never felt important, until it was gone. Let me show you what I mean. Early in the morning, before the day fully begins, there's a moment many people don't even recognize. A moment between waking up and starting to move. Helen, who is 72, used to sit at the edge of her bed every morning, not doing anything special. She would simply look around her room and quietly name things in her mind. The window, the dresser, the photograph on the wall. She didn't think of it as an exercise. It was just something she did. A soft way of arriving into the day. But over time, as mornings became busier, even in retirement, that moment disappeared. Now she wakes up and immediately reaches for her phone or stands up quickly to begin her routine. Nothing wrong with that. But something subtle changed. "I didn't think it mattered," she once said, "until I realized my mornings felt foggier." Because that tiny action, simply noticing and naming what was around her, was gently activating her brain. It was building awareness, connection, presence. And without it, her mind had to catch up instead of being gently awakened. You don't need to change your entire morning. Just pause for a few seconds. Look around. Name what you see. It doesn't feel like much. But your brain remembers repetition. Later in the day, there's another moment most people overlook. A conversation, something simple. A neighbor saying hello. A grandchild telling you a story. Robert, 78, used to be known as a great listener. Not because he said anything profound, but because he would quietly repeat part of what someone said, in his own words. Not out loud, just in his mind. If someone said, "I went to the store this morning," he would think, "She went to the store earlier today." A small reflection, a gentle echo. He didn't realize it, but this tiny habit kept his mind engaged, active, connected. Over time, he stopped doing it. Maybe conversations felt faster. Maybe he just listened passively. And slowly, something shifted. "I started forgetting parts of conversations," he admitted. "I thought it was my memory. But maybe I just wasn't holding on to things the same way. Because the brain doesn't just store information, it interacts with it. That small act of mentally repeating, rephrasing, helps create stronger connections. Without it, words simply pass through. The next time you talk to someone, just take a second. Quietly reflect what they said. Not perfectly, just gently. You'll feel the difference. In the afternoon, there's often a quiet rhythm to the day. A routine task, washing dishes, folding laundry, watering plants. Margaret, 74, used to describe everything she was doing, silently in her mind. I'm rinsing the cup. I'm placing it on the rack. It sounds simple, even unnecessary. But this tiny habit kept her mind anchored, focused, present. As the years passed, she began doing things more automatically, moving from one task to another without thinking about it. And slowly, she noticed something unexpected. I would forget if I had already done something, she said. Did I turn off the stove? Did I lock the door? Not because her memory was failing, but because her attention wasn't fully there. You begin to notice patterns. When the mind is engaged in small ways, it stays sharp. When actions become purely automatic, awareness fades. Try this gently. As you do something routine, describe it in your mind. No pressure, no perfection. Just a soft narration. It brings your brain back into the moment. When you step outside, something else begins to shift. The world becomes full of movement, colors, sounds, details. James, 80, used to take short walks every afternoon, not for exercise, just to look around. He would notice small things, a new plant in someone's yard, a different color car parked on the street, a bird he hadn't seen before. And quietly, he would ask himself, have I seen this before? This simple question kept his mind curious, engaged, alive. Over time, his walks became more routine. He walked the same path, at the same pace, looking, but not really seeing. I realized I wasn't noticing anything new anymore, he said, and everything started to feel the same. It wasn't the world that changed. It was his attention. The brain thrives on novelty. Not big dramatic change, just small moments of noticing something different. The next time you step outside, ask yourself one simple question. What's new today? Even if the answer is small, especially if it's small. In the evening, there's a different kind of moment, a quieter one, a reflective one. Linda, 69, had a habit she didn't even think about. At the end of each day, she would replay one moment in her mind. Just one. A conversation. A feeling. A small event. And she would think about it. Slowly. What happened? How it felt? What she noticed? She wasn't journaling. She wasn't analyzing. Just remembering with intention. As time went on, she stopped. Evenings became filled with television or background noise. And something subtle shifted. I felt like my days were blending together, she said. Like nothing really stayed with me. Because memory isn't just about storing. It's about revisiting. That small act of reflection tells your brain, this matters. Without it, moments fade faster than they should. Tonight, before you sleep, just choose one moment and sit with it. That's all. And then there are those moments when you try to remember something. A word, a name, a place. George, 82, used to do something very simple. When he couldn't remember something, he wouldn't rush. He would pause. And instead of forcing the answer, he would think of related things. If I can't remember the name, what does it start with? Where did I meet them? What were we talking about? This gentle searching kept his brain flexible, connected. Over time, like many people, he began to feel frustrated when something didn't come quickly. And instead of exploring the memory, he gave up faster. I just stopped trying sometimes, he said, because it felt easier. But in those moments, the brain loses an opportunity. Not to be perfect, but to stay active. The next time something doesn't come to you right away, don't rush, don't give up, just explore around it. Your brain is still there. It just needs a moment. You don't notice it at first. These tiny actions, these quiet habits, they don't feel important. They don't feel like training your brain. And that's exactly why they matter. Because mental sharpness is not built by effort. It's built by repetition, by presence, by small moments of awareness, repeated day after day. You didn't lose your clarity. You didn't lose your sharpness. You simply stopped feeding it in the same gentle ways. And the good news? You can begin again. Right now. Not with something big. Not with something complicated. Just something small. Because the brain doesn't need pressure. It needs participation. And once you begin to notice these patterns, everything starts to feel a little clearer, a little steadier, a little more you. If any of this felt familiar to you, if you've noticed these small shifts in your own life, I'd love to hear from you. What is one tiny habit you've realized makes a difference in how you think or remember? Share it in the comments. Your experience might help someone else see what they've been missing. And if you found this helpful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to notice the small things because they often make the biggest difference. Thank you for spending this time with me. And tonight, as your day comes to a close, take a quiet moment. Breathe gently. Notice where you are. Your mind is still listening, and it always will be.